Hello. Well, my girlfriend's coworker got some Bissell brothers from Portland, Maine. This is their IPA called I Lucky. It just has a little sticker on there. Tell you what it is. Otherwise, it's a generic Bissell Brothers can. And it is an IPA brewed with rice and ginger at 7% alcohol, and it was canned on September 29th, so it's 10 days old. And I've never had this one before. I've had other Bissell Brothers beers, and they were very good, mainly just new wave, New England hoppy things. And I've never really had a beer with ginger in it that I was a huge fan of. But I hear this one isn't too big on the ginger. Some people said that it was just like the Bissell Brothers, the Substance IPA, with a little bit of a hint of ginger. And I've had some beers with rice that I liked, but everyone's had Budweiser, which is made with 30% rice. That's probably the most rice alcoholic beverage you've consumed. Well, I'm gonna drink it. Guess I can show you this shit. Oh, I spilled a little already. Looks like a nice hazy golden IPA. Very hazy indeed. I don't really smell any ginger. It does have this, citrusy, lemongrassy sort of thing going on. But that's from the Sriracha Ace and Lemon Drop hops that are in here, which is it's an interesting idea due to rice and ginger with Sriracha Ace, which was made in Japan, or the hop Sriracha Ace was developed in Japan by Sapporo, who poo-pooed it because it was too flavorful for them. But you can tell it's very fresh. There's no like bitter, overly piney, resinous quality to it. The lemon drop really seems to come through, this new lemon drop hops that kind of has, it's almost like a menthol, lemon, Ricola sort of aroma and flavor that I get from it. And the Sriracha Ace brings a little more of that lemongrass. So all different kinds of lemons. Any lemon you want is probably in this. Well, I'm going to give it a taste. But it does smell very, very good. Ginger, very noticeable in the flavor immediately, but then it kind of goes away. And it's mostly sort of tropical fruit juice, lemon, pineapple thing going on. But it's amazing how there's not really much ginger in the smell. The body is it's pretty light for 7% alcohol, and it's not ridiculously dry. There's a little bit of sweetness. It's not ridiculously bitter either. I'm not sure how much rice is in this, but on the Bissell Brothers website, they list the malts Pilsner, flaked rice, Vienna, malted rye, and I'm guessing that usually means the first malt is the highest percentage. So that means that the second highest percentage is flaked rice in this beer. That's what I'm guessing, and I would believe it's so because it doesn't have too much malt feel, or there's like just a touch of sort of marshmallowy, candy-ish sort of malt happening. And I don't really notice too much malted rye. I think it's just kind of mixing with the spiciness, or adding a little bit more spiciness to it, whereas the hops in this aren't extremely spicy to me. But I'm a big fan, actually. This is the first beer with ginger that I really like, probably. And it's mainly because there isn't too much gingeriness going on. I think now that I have the ginger in my throat and my palate inside my head, I can smell it. Whereas before, it just wasn't. I just didn't notice it before I started sipping. But I think the light body works well with this one. It makes it have that sort of refreshing but vital and nutritious feeling that you might think from some other Asian tonics and elixirs and things. They have that a deep fullness to them, but they're not usually super greasy or heavy. I don't know what I'm talking about here. It's surprisingly not very bitter. Like, it's kind of refreshing, actually. And I don't get really any heat from the alcohol. Like, at 7%, you'd often get that, especially when you mix it with some bitter hops and some intense malt. But this goes big on the hop aroma, just like the New England style. And I guess maybe using the rice in the way they did helped to keep it a little refreshing, even though it's 7%. And a little bit lighter in the body. Even the burps taste good. I'm not sure if I would go for this one over Bissell Brothers, the Substance. I guess that one, if you want more traditional West Coast IPA sort of hops, even though it's not like a West Coast IPA, I would say. This one is a little more interesting because of the very Asian flavor-centered ingredients. Now the ginger builds up a little bit just overall in the aroma and the flavor as you drink it. I'm not sure if that was just a psychological thing, that I first just smelled it and all the flavors kind of blended together so well. I think that's what's happening, is that the ginger is blending with the hops really well, and maybe even like that bit of rye in there is making it all nice and spicy. And it has a tang that almost reminds me of pickled ginger. Like, I love pickled ginger and other things, but usually not in beer, because it kind of overwhelms the flavors. But here, the hop aroma really was able to beat out that ginger, because I think ginger overtakes lots of beers, and it doesn't taste much very beery to me after that happens in a beer. I'll give you a better look of. It has a nice cloudy, somewhat dehydrated urine look to it, which is good. And it's a little bit dark, but it's definitely not. And it's mainly coming from the haze. Like, there's no toasty malt at all in this. I guess I should give it some kind of rating. Probably 8 out of 10 or 4 stars or whatever the hell people like to rate it with. I give it 7 bags of popcorn. Thank you.